Welcome back. Yesterday we took a look at some Deathcore of Krieg. Today we're going to take a look at some Eldar Aspect Warriors. In plastic, it's happening. It's actually happening. They're doing the thing. Between the Plastic Krieg and the Plastic Aspect Warriors, I feel like Games Workshop are covering most of the bases of those who really wish they would go around and update stuff. And the thing is, this is just the stuff from Friday. I said Saturday yesterday, which isn't correct. From last Friday, there's other reveals for us to talk about today and tomorrow as well. And new stuff that was revealed yesterday for Necromonday, and an incredible Chaos Warrior to look at as well. I mean, there's going to be so many videos, you're not going to know what to do with them. Here we have some freshly updated, tasty-looking Fire Dragons. I'm not a big fan of the half helm on the one there, but you wouldn't expect anything else from me. They are so, these are kind of peak older 40k for me, just in terms of the design. Big old helmets, big crests, back banners. This has got an older feel to it, but it doesn't really matter how old the feel is because they've been updated in such a cool way. Once again, we're in that position, we're in that situation where really the only thing that these needed doing was for them to be brought up to date. They were already nice designs. I think it's fair to say for pretty much all of the Aspect Warriors. They already looked good. They just looked dated because they were sculpted way back when. The technology has moved on. People have got, just the level of detail that you can bring out in miniatures now is not the same as it used to be. And having that new level of detail on these sculpts is just... it's just that's all they needed. That's all they needed, and that's really all that they've done. The scaling is a bit better. The details overall are sharper. They're cleaner. The definition of the lines is just that much more pronounced. They've done the thing. They've done the thing, and it looks fantastic. I think these look absolutely great. And again, the squad leader, all that kind of different options you got for them is really nice, but there is something of that classic 40k feel. The really big helmet, the back banner, combine those together with that gigantic, ridiculous gun, and you've just got a really cool, slightly older feeling, but still very appropriate for the game now. It's a nice mix of old and new styles, and everything is so crisp and clean. That's the main thing for me. Everything is so nicely defined. It just, it works so well. We also have Asurmen, the Phoenix Lord of the Dire Avengers, and I really like most of this model. Most of it. I will confess that I'm not a big fan of the faceplate on the helmet. I mean, if we're going to talk about Giganto helmets and back banners, really, look no further. Look no further than this model, because, good grief, the biggest helmet known to man and Eldar alike? Quite possibly. I do like the model overall. I really like that cloth around the waist. That looks absolutely fantastic. I really like that we can see what seems to be extra, magazines for the shuriken launchers on the wrist. That's a really nice detail. Love that. Got a sort of yin-yang symbol thing going on in the centre of the chest there as well. Overall, really cool miniature. Really cool. My only problem is I just don't like the little mouth. I just don't like the little mouth on the faceplate. That's it. Everything else I quite like. Yes, the helmet is hilariously big, but again, I don't know that that's really an issue because it feels so true to the era in which these were originally designed. Or maybe not original. I can't remember whether we've had ones before the ones that have been available for the last 20 years or so, but I just don't mind it. It may be something that I would not personally choose to do, but I just can't deny that it suits it really well, you know? Also, I love the kind of bandage, the cloth wrapped around the arm as well. Just little details like that just makes it. I like that we've got the close-ups on the sword and the banner. I mean, the sword looks great. Worth remembering, if you're not familiar, that the sword contains the soul of his murdered brother. So, pretty hardcore. Pretty hardcore as swords go. Banner shape I wasn't initially 100% sold on, but it's grown on me quite a bit. It has grown on me. If you're going to do it, you might as well do it properly. A little bit of extra cloth at the top just makes it that little bit, but I mean extra. I mean, it's the same word twice, but it does. It makes it that little bit extra. and again, I find myself quite liking it. Whilst the Dire Avengers didn't get an update to their kit was already plastic, they still look okay, they still hold up. It's not like they were as stuck in the past as the other Aspect Warrior kits. So, you know, it's fine. I think it's okay. Asurmen though, I mean, I like it. It's the only thing that I don't like is the little mouth. That's it. Everything else is good. Everything else is good. Next up, we've got Baharroth of the Swooping Hawks, and I love this model. I absolutely love it. It looks so good. The sword is absolutely fantastic. Can't get enough of the sword. The gun looks awesome. Can't get enough of the gun. The wings are so nicely designed. I absolutely love those as well. The feathers on the head are really, really cool. The armour looks great. The kind of harness going over the chest is brilliant. The cloth between the legs, the fact that you've got like a banner, like a pennant coming off the gun itself. Oh, it's so good. So good. I'm even overlooking the now kind of getting a bit boring sort of perching on a rock pose that a lot of flying units have that's going on here. I'm even overlooking that because overall I think the impact of this it's top tier. It's top tier. Again, that cloth wrapped around the arm looks super cool. I really can't get enough of the sword. The sword is so good. I always found that something I wasn't too keen on with Swooping Hawks was the beak, and I'm okay with it now. I'm just okay with it. I think because it's a lot more, like, well-defined, I'm kind of finding myself appreciating the aesthetic a bit more than I did before. The back view is great. I really like that jump pack. Like, it looks really nicely done. Like I said, that gun, getting to see it from a different angle, it's just, I mean, it helps that it's been painted really nicely. Like, I do like the white finish on it and the way they've done the shading, but overall, it is just a very cool gun, and having that pennant hanging from it is great. I did think whether the feathers would feel a bit too, like, on the nose for what Baharroth is, but actually I don't mind them. They've been done nicely. It's not too over the top. I think if the model was just covered in random feathers and stuff, then it might look a bit off, but having it in place of, like, the big crest that you see on other Phoenix Lords, like, if you compare it to say, well, if you compare it to Asurmen that we just looked at, like, there is a kind of template when it comes to some of the Phoenix Lords where there is quite an ornamental thing going on with the helmet. It doesn't make sense to have that necessarily with the Swooping Hawks, but there is something that is lightweight, that is still kind of a bit ostentatious, but isn't just a copy of, yeah, it's another crest. Instead, it's something more appropriate for what the warrior actually does, it feels like, and I don't know, I like that. I think that's really nice. But of course, it's not just the Phoenix Lord, it's also the Swooping Hawks themselves who've got a refresh. Like, they've just fully gone for it. They've fully gone for it, and it's great. Now, I will say, having just talked about the crest, or lack thereof, on Baharroth, I think for me, I'm not a big fan of the crests on the Swooping Hawks. I can't remember whether they were on the originals or not, but there is definitely a feel to me of turn your head too quick and you go bash your wings. Whether that's actually the case or not, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know whether anatomically that would be possible, but it feels like it would, which is something I'm not a huge fan of. That being said, I think the rest of the models look great. Again, they don't really look that different to what came before. There's not a huge change here. It is taking the existing concept, it's taking the existing look and just updating it, just making it cleaner, making it, you know, just all the lines are that much sharper. It's just higher definition, I guess, and that's all they really needed. The design was never the problem. It was the scale. It was some of the kind of strange things that you get from those older sculpts where things are just a bit out of balance. Legs can look a little bit too skinny, whilst feet and hands can look a little bit too big. You know, heads can look a bit too chunky compared to the body. They've basically just taken all of that and fixed it, which is all they needed to do. That's all they needed. The Aspect Warriors were pretty good to begin with. They just needed an update, and that's what they've got. And of course, getting that update means they're in plastic. They're not in rubbish resin, not even Forge World resin, just the good old GW resin. Like, they're finally going to be easier to assemble, just nicer to deal with, more fun to paint, I imagine. It's just a good upgrade. It's just flat out a good upgrade. Or I suppose I should say a good update. No, it's still an upgrade as well. It's still an upgrade. Going from that resin to modern plastic, that's totally an upgrade. I'm going to stand by it. Then we have the Phoenix Lord of the Warp Spiders, which is Lyhkis. Yeah, Lyhkis. Close enough. And I have to say, of all of them, my absolute favourite. My absolute favourite. Like, they all look good. They all look good. Every single one of them. But this has got me going. This has got me going. I'm not even that, like... I haven't really got any intentions to buy an Eldar army necessarily. I wouldn't mind a couple of display pieces. I'm buying this immediately. The second it's available, I want Lyhkis. She is so good. The way the pose has been done with that energy coming up from the rock and like all the bits of masonry that are caught in that kind of energy web. The sword looks brilliant. The guns, the shoulder-mounted guns. That, to me, that just looks like... I don't know how to phrase it. Just incredibly violent. I don't know how else to put that. Lyhkis just looks like violence incarnate. I don't know whether it's because the multiple arms, the weapons attached to the shoulders kind of give this larger-than-life feel. I don't know whether it's because there are 6 eyes on the helm that makes it look really, like, just really predatorish. It looks like a bunch of lenses designed specifically for finding the best way to kill you very quickly. Like, I don't know how else to put it. I just think it's so good. It helps that whoever painted this did an insane job. I will say that. But the overall design is just incredible. You've got that kind of crest around the neck that almost looks like little mandibles coming out the front. I quite like there being a free hand, although a little part of me kind of... I don't know. A little part of me is like... A second sword would have been kind of badass, though. But that would have been... Would that have been too much? 2 swords, 2 guns, 2 other guns. Would that have been too much? I don't know. Now that I say it out loud, I don't think that it would be. I don't think that it would, and I'm sure someone will kit bash that. It might well be me, to be honest. Having said that, it's likely. It's likely to be me. Would that be a bit extra? Yes. Does it matter when the model itself is already this extra? I mean, look at the top knot. Look at the glorious hair coming out. Oh, so good. So good. Lyhkis just looks incredibly threatening. Incredibly threatening. The carapace on the back looks fantastic as well. Like the kind of the gubbins, the bronze gubbins. I really like that. It shows up on a few different Eldar things, and I don't know exactly what it is, but I like the design of it. And then the big sigil in the sort of centre of it with... it's just so good. Obviously deliberately done to resemble a spider, obviously, because warp spiders, but it's both not subtle and kind of subtle at the same time, if such a thing were possible. But yeah, oh my god, I want this model like you wouldn't believe. They've done a brilliant job here. Of course, it's not just Lyhkis, also the warp spiders as a whole have been updated. Now, this is a significant update in a way. I feel like the scale of these has changed completely. Well, maybe not the scale, but the proportions. The proportions feel way better. Previously, they felt quite squat, like the legs were just a little too short for them. Here, they are just so well proportioned, but they still stay true to what they were before. Bunch of big old massive weapons. The carapace is still there. The helmets are still really good. I feel like the helmets look a bit better now, actually. The devices within the carapace look really neat. Also, little things like the lightning crackling off that guy. Oh, it's just such a good update. It's such a good update. And right here, we've got 4 blades, 2 blades, and 2 guns, or 3 guns. I will say, I don't think it's extra. I don't think Lyhkis having an extra sword would be extra. I think it would work perfectly well, because look at this. Look at the 4-blade option and tell me that isn't cool. I mean, the 2-blade and 2-gun option is cool. Also, the mirroring of kind of have those mandibles out the front of the helm. So good. So good. Also, I don't know if there's a lore reason for painting part of the helmet black on that squad leader, on that version, with the 3 guns. But I think the black helm with the white decoration looks really good. Oh, just overall, solid work. Just solid work all round on these. There is, of course, going to be a new Codex, which, when we were streaming, I saw the cover of this. And I've come to realise after the fact that in some ways, streaming these previews live, it's really fun. I really enjoy it. It's totally worth doing. It's really nice sitting down with like a bunch of other people and we all get to see the thing together. I don't spot things as much as I should when I'm also trying to keep up with chat and read what people are saying. And I've come to realise that after this Codex reveal, where I saw the purple and gold down there, and I immediately thought, is that Soul Drinkers? That's a weird, like, why go for that reference? Now, of course, in hindsight, there is a distinct bulge in the breastplate there, specific use of the word breast, and there's like some black leather with studs. Very, very Emperor's Children, it turns out. But at the time, I was just like, is that? Yeah, I think that's that. But then we got into a mild disagreement, me and chat, because someone said, well, clearly Emperor's Children. Except Emperor's Children haven't been purple and gold in 40k, or at least the way that Games Workshop has described them. If that's coming back, that is a more recent thing, because ever since I started playing 40k, way back in 3rd, pink and black all day. I suppose technically magenta and black, but even on the Warhammer like TV YouTube channel, it's like how to paint Emperor's Children. It's pink and black. So just the context of purple and gold. I suppose also Hawk Lords maybe could be that. But the thing of purple and gold in 40k, my mind immediately was like, well, it's got to be this chapter because that's the colour of that chapter. Because Emperor's Children, not actually purple and gold in 40k, but now this makes me think that they may well be heading back in that direction, or at least this might be a warband of the Emperor's Children where they've retained the original colours. But then that just makes it interesting, as in, will this end up being the main scheme for Emperor's Children, and the now, I guess, classic pink and black is going to become maybe a named warband? Or is that going to remain the main colour scheme, with this being a specific warband that's called out in their codex? I don't know. It's fun to speculate, but yeah, it turns out, my immediate glance and read, and then being outraged that people were like, they've always been that in 40k. Me being like, no, that's not true. And of course, the fact that it doesn't really matter anyway, because you can paint them how you like. Mine aren't purple and gold, and they're not pink and black, but they're still Emperor's Children. So really, who cares? Anyway, it's a cool Codex cover. It looks really nice. It is fun to have that little reference in there, and it makes me excited to see what happens with the Emperor's Children in the future. But yeah, I think overall, the Eldar ate good. The Eldar ate good for that preview, and they've continued to eat good when it comes to the Aspect Warriors being updated. I mean, you look at that right there, and that's a whole lot of not ancient resin. That's a whole lot of fresh, new plastic skulls. Kind of new. Most of them are sort of new. The Die Revengers over there, not so new. But you know what? Close enough. Close enough. They're all there, and that's the important thing, is it not? Let me know what you think of that lot in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things. There'll be another video later on today covering a Chaos Last. Then tomorrow we're going to look at the Wolf Rider Gobbos. And we've also got a Necromunda thing to look at as well. And then on Thursday, I guess we ought to talk about the tanks that were shown off, and the fact that you can have an Arvus lighter in plastic, which is really fun, but also kind of why. There's a lot. There's a lot that happened, and we're going to be playing catch-up for ages. So keep your eyes peeled for the rest of that. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you for the next one.